get so mad, there's no control.
Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you live under a rock,
I might
you
grab
are
a bat,
looking
I
at
don't
the
know, my
youngest
rap,
and
my blood
fastest
boils
rising
over
star
like,
in
oh God, here
professional
goes. I
wrestling
lost all
today.
feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough.
I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll bleed on your face just to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you gon' wish you was just a fuck up real bad. Shut up. Be the villain! And I have no problem at all, because I couldn't care less if you like me or not. I'm here for success, and there's no one more successful than Grayson Waller.
Yeah! Let me talk to you! War game.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Heel of the Ring podcast here on the BX Sports Jedi Network. And of course, it is a new year and is the first NXT live event of the new year of 2023. But before we get into that and bring all the news and notes, let's say hello to my partner this afternoon with us, Jay. What's going on, Jay?
Not much. Thank you for having me back on the podcast.
No, man, pleasure always to have you on here. As we go forward, we'll be seeing Jay more and more often with us, joining us each and every week, as his availability here on the podcast, here on the Heel of the Ring. And it's great to strap in and let's go, baby. Let's get into this NXT review. Before we do the NXT review, we got a little bit of news and notes. We all know that Wrestle Kingdom happened while most of us asleep. Some of us stood up. Some of us are going to have the bags underneath our eyes from watching it. But all in all, we'll break that down at the end of the video. All in all, our thoughts and some of the memorable matches that stand out to us personally on Wrestle Kingdom 17. It was fun. A lot of news and notes, as we know that Mercedes, aka Sasha Banks, made her debut in New Japan Wrestling. Of course, we'll talk about that at the end of the video. Good for her. It was good to see her back in any professional platform of wrestling. And of course, we knew that Bayley was in attendance with Naomi as well, and we had a few others. A big spectacle. That is their Wrestle Kingdom, is their big wrestling event where you have the true Forbidden Door with Pro Wrestling Noah, Stardom. You had AEW, you had WWE, NXT, you name it. They were all pretty much available there at Wrestle Kingdom. So we'll break that down as well. Another news and notes. Well, stay tuned at the end, because I think wrestling kind of tips its future with certain free agency and certain performers, if they're going to stay with certain XY companies or not, due to the event card. So I don't want to give any spoilers yet. But before we go into the NXT review, I can't wait to hear your thoughts, Jay, on Wrestle Kingdom. The matches that stood out to you. I know we're not going to jump into it until the end of the video, but what was your thoughts summarizing? And if you got one word or a couple of what you saw at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, it was a great pay-per-view, and it felt like WrestleMania to me. And I really enjoyed every second of it, and every match brought it all. And yeah, I really loved it.
Absolutely. Another news and notes that I wanted to bring up. WWE is planning to, or they're petitioning, or they're pushing hard to plan a premium live event coming from France. We saw how the great success they had in Wales in Clash of the Castles. Now there are a lot of talks, a lot of traction. Stade de France in WWE. So if you go to Twitter, if you go on there, you look at that, and they pushing it. Personally, I think this is a way that Triple H and the new creative wanted to do. They want to globalize WWE. Remember, we were going to have NXT Europe starting any day now. I believe in March, if I'm not mistaken, NXT Europe. And what a way to indulge and invigorate a European market with bringing them a premium live event. I don't know when it'll be. I don't know if it's going to be take place in September the way Clash of the Castle was, in between, a tweener between after SummerSlam, in between the Royal Rumble or Crown Jewel. But it'll be interesting, Jay, to see that. I'm excited for the people of France.
Oh yeah, I am super excited to see what they bring to France. And you know, a little thought here. I think maybe each year they'll bring a new pay-per-view to a new place each year. So it's not really repetitive pay-per-views, premium live events, whatever you want to call it, each time. With Clash of the Castle, this time it could be a whole totally different name for France. But yeah, I cannot wait to see what they have in store. Hopefully, it's by September, maybe earlier, before after SummerSlam. We'll just wait and see.
Yeah, because we were teased that we were getting a premium live event coming out of India. That did not fall through due to the fact of a rugby or cricket series or whatever the case happened that didn't allow it to come. It was supposed to be for January, and it didn't come to forefront. Not enough time, not enough planning. And hopefully this is you never know, it might be before WrestleMania, or because it helps launch NXT Europe. But we have the thumbnail up there. So if you go to France, if you go to the WWE, if you go to hashtag WWE Stand de France, you see that there, and you see that there on there all over the social media. So it's getting traction, Jay.
Yeah, and by the looks of it, maybe we'll get another rematch between Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns. And maybe this time Roman Reigns will actually get defeated by Drew McIntyre. Get a little revenge for Clash of the Castle.
You never know. You never know there with that. So there's a lot of, we'll have some more news and notes at the end after we do the NXT review, because we don't want to give any spoilers on some of the cards for Wrestle Kingdom. We're not going to review the whole card. We're going to review our good matches that we like there, but we'll have the ticker on the bottom to tell you the results as well if you missed it, or just telling you it's going to be a little bit of a spoiler for Wrestle Kingdom if you haven't watched it, if you're coming home from work. I know some of us were asleep, ready for work. Some of us are on vacation. Some of us are off. Whatever the case is, so we'll get right into it. Let's just jump into what we came mainly here was to talk about NXT. NXT started off the year with a lot of promises, a lot of grudge matches, setting up for New Year's Evil as well as Vengeance. So right off the bat, we loved it. First and foremost, we want to tell you guys, you have to watch this Friday's Level Up. Just to give you a peek, we seen it. We're not going to give you no spoilers. We try not to be a spoiler program like the others. We want to make sure that you watch it, go in it fresh. But we recommend you to please go watch it. They had some banging matches, some 3 really good matches there. Jay, Level Up again keeps improving. These are the wrestlers of the future, and my goodness, they did not disappoint.
Yeah, they definitely did not disappoint. It was some banger matches, as Sheamus would say. I keep saying it over and over again, banger after banger after banger. But just tune in Friday right after SmackDown at 10 p.m. Eastern on Peacock to check out Level Up, and it's going to be a good one.
It's going to be phenomenal. It really was, and they have been delivering bangers after bangers after bangers, and that's Level Up. No, guys, I've told many people in the chat to watch certain wrestlers. The main event of Level Up was just another good match. Personally, it should have been on the main card tonight, but it is what it is. You got to give a good juicy steak once in a while to Level Up, and they've been giving more than a steak. They've been giving filet mignons. Yeah,
definitely. One of those, the main event definitely should have been on the main roster, on the main card, actually. And Level Up is just improving. It's improving every single week, and I feel like maybe Level Up will be the developmental brand moving forward.
You're probably right. It's starting to look like that. It's starting to look like it.
And we're seeing a lot of new stars, new faces come on, and then they're improving in the ring, and we. Just tune in. I really want to spoil stuff, but I can't. I'm not going to. Tune in to this Friday.
Yes, we are so enthusiastic. To be honest with you, we are really enthusiastic. We're holding back not to give you any spoilers because it was that good. And just to give you a quick behind the peak, we ourselves go to NXT. We were there live in attendance, so you're giving our perspective from us being in the arena. Jay and Evan, part of the program, sit on the opposite side by where Booker T sits and does the commentary with Vic Joseph. We, on the other hand, will sit more by the entrance where the wrestlers come up the stairs. Myself, my wife, a couple of the Heal the Ring podcast guys that are part of the program, we all sit there and we watch it from different angles. And I'm gonna tell you this right now, this was an electric crowd tonight to start off, and of course we're giving you our perspective of being in there. We're not just somewhere else or out across somewhere else in another country or another state eating on Ezekiel bread. No, we were there live and in person, and we're telling you from our perspective going forward. But what a way to start it off, because I believe Level Up opened the door for a great opening contest between Apollo and Carmelo Hayes. My God, what a way to start it off the new year. They gave us cream right off the top there, Jay.
Yeah, Apollo versus Carmelo Hayes was a really, really good match. It was better than Apollo versus Bron Breakker. I know that's two heavyweights, going at it there at Deadline, but these two, oh my God, they put on a hell of a performance, and they brought it all to kick off 2023 for NXT.
Oh, yes, I put the graphics of the two. If you missed it, if you can see that. Carmelo Hayes and Apollo. Now, the match has a lot of star power. It was really up and going. I believe personally, I love the fact that the NXT Universe, followed by the NXT Enforcer, our one and only Mr. Bobby, aka Mr. Met, with the claps, getting the crowd. We knew when to clap. It was a beautiful orchestrated of love, of passion when it comes to watching wrestling in a live event, and everybody was just ready to cheer the performers, ready to give them, and the performers did not fail to deliver Carmelo Hayes another quality match where he carried this match, I believe. And despite that, Apollo is the veteran in the ring and the veteran wrestler, but I felt Carmelo Hayes, with his mannerisms, his style, carry this match with Apollo, and it's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing to shame for Apollo, but because that's what you want. This is what the developmental league supposedly of NXT, and now we're starting to see the wrestlers that have been there and that supposedly are being seasoned or developmental. They're the ones that was actually carrying the match. That's a good thing to see, Jay.
Yeah, definitely a good thing to see, and I can't wait because Carmelo Hayes will face whoever is going to win this next Tuesday at New Year's Eve at Vengeance Day, and I can't wait to see who it is. I mean, now it's good to see Carmelo Hayes getting the push he deserves before he goes back up to the main roster, and Carmelo Hayes, man, doing all those moves were clean. They were clean. There was nothing wrong with that match at all. And Bobby over there getting the crowd hyped. We've been gone for 3 weeks. 3 weeks, and we missed NXT so much, and we missed everybody at the PC. No matter if it's the performers or the producers or the referees, anybody, we missed them all. And we just wanted to say thank you guys for letting us come back, and thank you for giving us a great show to kick off 2023.
It was good, back and forth. The near fall finishes with a lot of different suplex city. Apollo had given a series numbers of suplexes to Carmelo, or in continuous fashion, of all the grabbing of the arm to hold off and do certain side of moves. Carmelo Hayes, the way he sold those moves, and my goodness, he is every week, every match after match after match. Carmelo Hayes. It's just star. It's just the star keeps shining brighter and brighter and brighter. That young man the future is super ahead of him. Talk about there's a lot of future stars in wrestling, and not just give the flowers to Carmelo Hayes, but his partner, his best friend out there on the ring apron, Mr. Trick Williams. I mean, the way he engaged with the crowd as a heel, and getting the back and forth feet, when to pretend to intervene in the match. I love that when Carmelo Hayes was putting a submission hold on the knee, he was there rallying back, and he was actually doing a little bit of a Mizdow imitation of the match, but also putting his love and feeling into the being on the ring side, not just being there as a puppet or just, hey, look at me. No, he was engaging, and it's good to see that. And what I'm showing is their producers and whoever's working with these performers, they're teaching well, giving them good advice, and kudos to the performers in the NXT that we're currently seeing right now. They're sponges because they're absorbing and they're portraying it to us, and they're freaking very entertaining. And man, I really enjoy that, Jay.
Yeah, I really enjoyed every second of it, and Trick Williams over there doing his little thing right there with the crowd, playing the heel character and then hitting and pretending to be like Mizdow, like you said. I was laughing so hard because the way I was looking at the angle, the Trick's face. Oh my God, that was. If you guys were watching it on TV, you probably saw it better. But yeah. All these performers on NXT are like you said, sponges. They're getting better and better each week, with all the producers and trainers in the back at the Performance Center, and I can't wait for every single one of them to show up, show what they have, and put it all on the table for all of us there at the Performance Center and people watching at home as well.
Yes, and again, I want to give them also credit to both Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. Their gimmick. It's their gimmick, or their persona is Melo doesn't miss. It's a basketball reference. Everything he does, he doesn't miss. Free throws, 3-pointers, he hits you. He'll put it this way: any finisher, he can hit your finisher at any time, and he won't miss to get you down. Also, Trick Williams, his character or the way he persona is safe for children. We've seen him have thumb wrestling matches with young kids, and at a live hive show, he gets it. He is a heel that will get back and forth and do the heel argument with the crowd, but it's all in good spirit. And that wrestling is mostly for young children or young
audience.
Young audience, correct. And he gets it where to appease to them, but also looking hardcore enough and for a mature audience, because he's a big, tall, 6'5" guy. I mean, he's slim. They're cut. They stay filled. They check the boxes, and kudos for them for going forward. And of course 2023 for both Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. I see a lot of stardom. I see roller coaster of ascension. Wouldn't be surprised, like you said. Could we see them possibly being the main roster for WrestleMania? You never know. I would love them to bring them both up. I think Trick Williams, as we'll see in a moment, their stock is so much rising, as we'll see that Carmelo Hayes, Melo doesn't miss, hits his finisher on Apollo Crews and gets a victory in the middle of the ring, gets the 1-2-3 for the win. Carmelo Hayes victorious here, beating Apollo Crews. I liked it because it was a clean finish as well, not Trick Williams intervening. It was Melo getting the victory, and he is now, you could say, stayed a claim here for vengeance for possibly the NXT World Title, number one contender, or hey, put my name there, I deserve a title shot. And I don't think anyone in any wrestling platform is going to say no to that, because he deserves it and more.
Yeah, Carmelo definitely deserves every bit of success that he has in NXT, and deserves even more. I mean, put the title on him. He deserves the title. I can see him going a little bit with the title and then moving to the main roster, along with Trick Williams, and them being a tag team, or probably part of the Hurt Business. We never know. But I could definitely see Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes in the near future having some gold around their waist.
We never know. We never know there. And of course, as they celebrate Carmelo and Trick Williams, they have raised their hand in victory. And some of them argue with the crowd, some of them don't. And of course, as they're in the ring solo, all of a sudden, out of the shadows, from where actually
right next to me,
right actually was Jay was sitting.
Right next to me.
Here comes the one and only Axiom. Axiom comes out high flying right over Trick and Melo. And of course, the match is about to start. We have a second match of the night. It is Axiom versus Trick Williams in a pretty good match here. You could say, wow, Axiom is much more smaller than Trick Williams, but don't let the height, don't let the disparity fool you. I thought this match was another solid match. Like I said, Trick Williams keeps getting better. We also saw a great match main event with Axiom and Mustafa Ali. That was a really good, high flying, hard hitting, good match there. Axiom, believe it or not, I was not a fan and still a little lukewarm for Axiom. I'm going to be totally honest. But that match with Mustafa Ali has won me more towards like, appreciation of what an Axiom could do, and maybe just the gimmick. And again, and I just finished saying a few minutes ago, I don't want to sound contradicting, saying that wrestling is for a younger audience, and that's why I'm kind of leaning towards liking more Axiom, because it doesn't have to appeal an older, mature audience, but also a young audience. You know, it did that when Rey Mysterio captivated us. Going forward with the mask, the luchador style, and Axiom now with the high flying and the underdog persona. Now that we're going to have Dragon Lee coming into the NXT universe, it's going to be now another high flyer with another mask wrestler. I like luchador wrestling because, you know, being part Latino, we watch AAA Lucha Libre. Lucha Libre is part of our heritage there. I really am starting to look to feel more and more into Axiom's corner. And this match, Jay, what was your thoughts on the match with Axiom and Trick Williams?
It was a great match. It was a great match. Trick Williams, he's improving each week. And I can't wait for, to see what's in store for Trick Williams in 2023. And like you said, Axiom, luchador and all that stuff. Yes, we've seen it all before, but Axiom, it feels different with Axiom. Because he's just doing what he needs to do, and we saw him, at Deadline hit that backflip off the penalty box. We saw him just yesterday, jump and hit a crossbody on both Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. And like you said before, yes, we don't want to keep saying it over and over again, but yes, it is for kids, it's for younger audience, and we love to see it. We love to see these kids get, to inspire these kids to grow up and be somewhat similar to somebody like Rey Mysterio and Axiom. It's a great inspiration for kids at home and all over the world.
Right, and I know there's always going to be the naysayers and the Debbie Downers, and I try not to be one at times, but human nature, we tend to elaborate more of the negative, and I don't want to, but I know I've seen all over everywhere. Oh, 50-50 booking, another 50-50 booking. Stop it. I mean, there's a story to be made. We just had Axiom go on main event, had a hell of a match and so did Trick Williams, by the way. Trick Williams had a great match on main event as well against Cedric Alexander. Phenomenal match. They had a really good match there on the main roster. Trick Williams looked like $1 million. So my point is, who's going to get over? You allow Axiom. You got Carmelo Hayes to go over on Apollo. Now you let Axiom, because Axiom now you're going to have, like I said, Dragon Lee's returning. The North American title has a lot of really good contenders now. What I see Axiom and Wesley that could be a hell of a match, or we could fantasy book later down the road, triple threat and so forth. My point is, you want to keep Axiom with some kind of heat, get him with some buzz and get him going, get him a little over, because Trick Williams is over without getting over. He's over because he's now part of Melo's staple. When Melo now gets a title opportunity in Vengeance, Trick Williams is going to be his vignette. He's going to be by his side. So Trick Williams could receive that same heat because he's standing alongside Melo, and they're a team, and they got that heat. They get over. But if Trick Williams goes over on Axiom, Axiom gets buried. Axiom's just another mass jobber, which we don't want to see that, Jay. And I understand that. So sometimes people are so critical. Here's WWE with the 50-50 booking. I can't stand that. And there's a few podcasters that are friends of the program that say that, and I can't stand that. Don't you know they're telling a story? It may not make sense to you, but wait and let the story marinate and let them let them get to the main plot and the ending and the conclusion of the story before you make an opinion.
Yeah, definitely. And, Axiom last week lost to Carmelo Hayes, and then this week, he's coming after Trick Williams for revenge. And I could definitely see a triple threat at Vengeance Day. Axiom, Carmelo Hayes, and whoever wins at New Year's Evil next week, for the NXT title. I could definitely see it happening. Axiom getting the hype that he deserves. All all of the love and stuff that he deserves. And he's coming in here doing what he needs to do. And enough with the 50-50 booking. Enough with the all that criticism online. It's just let them do what they need to do. It's story time. It's story, but it's story. Come on, it's a storyline. Come on, just let them do what they need to do.
Right, let them tell the story. It's like you're speaking and I'm gonna interrupt you. I didn't let you finish your point. It's the vice versa. Let WWE finish. If there's a 50-50 booking, hold on. There's a reason for it. We don't know who's gonna. There's a reason. Just sit back, open up a nice Coca-Cola, put on a smile, and like Richard Pryor say, shut bleep bleep up. But that's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
And sometimes I gotta do that myself. I open up a nice Coke, sit down, and just shut up and watch the wrestling.
Or do exactly what Chad Gable tells you every single week. Shush. Just don't talk. Don't. If you don't have something nice to say online, don't say it. That's what I'm gonna say.
Go. All right. And so we go to the next segment here on NXT. There was a couple backstage. Now, we didn't see the backstage too much because it's so loud in NXT. And of course, we coming on live here, we didn't get to watch it. We normally watch on video, see how it looks on TV. Or normally we have a guest, we have a partner here or a panelist here that watches it via TV. So we have a TV aspect and live crowd audience. But tonight, this afternoon, for the recording of the program, we did not watch it on video to see all the backstage promo. So if we missing backstage promo, we do apologize for not breaking down. The one we did see was the women's tag team champion Kaden and Katana in the back with the medical with the doctors. I don't know if one of the ladies are sick, injury. Possibly expecting. I don't know if that's the storyline. I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's
real.
No,
so guys. Online earlier in the day, somebody created a Twitter account named NXT_Anonymous. They filmed Katana and Kaden backstage talking to medical, and possibly somebody's coming to NXT. Maybe a returning star, maybe a new person coming to NXT. And we'll just have to wait and see. Possibly New Year's Evil.
Let me ask you this, Jay. Would that possibly return? I wonder if it's going to be a singles or a tag team because they're targeting the women's tag team champions.
100%. I could definitely see a tag team returning to WWE, or possibly a new people coming to NXT. Well, I could definitely see it being a tag team. I don't think it's going to be a singles competitor if they're targeting Kaden and Katana, the tag champs. Definitely see it be the tag team.
Wow, man. Personally, my fingers are crossed for the Voltirosas.
Yes.
But we move. Me personally, we move on to a segment here that was a to be continued kind of segment. Was what happened to Stack Lorenzo? Last time we saw him, Tony D'Angelo was fighting for the North American title against Wesley, and the distraction where a Dijak took a Stack Lorenzo away, took him to the back. We did see that vignette, that promo. He was but hijacked and taken for interrogation. You saw he had black eye. He got a little bit roughed up, and it led to Stack saying, "You know what? We could settle this in the ring." And Dijak just let him go, and we'll do it in the ring. I thought the promo. I like the cinematics. I like the costumes. I like the black eye. I like the whole thing. But the storyline was like, all of that for that.
Yeah. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Dijak last week taking Stacks back to wherever he is, wherever that is. I don't know. It's probably some warehouse that Dijak is, making up a plan to take that NXT North American Championship away from Wesley. And he was interrogating him, asking why Stacks was in his locker room. What is he was asking for? And we heard Stacks say, Tony wanted to know. Tony wanted to know why Dijak was in his way of the NXT North American Championship, and with Wesley and stuff, causing him the title the previous week. And Dijak was insisting it, and Stacks was like, "No, we'll settle this in the ring," and Dijak let him go. And now we see Dijak versus Stacks Lorenzo in the ring, and it was a good match. I liked it.
You know what? Another underrated wrestler when he first burst on the scene with his former tag team partner, Cole Carter, no longer in NXT. But when they first came on, they were extremely green. You could tell they were wet behind the ears as performers. They didn't fit that mobster, whatever Tony the Don persona of the Don, with from the streets. They didn't fit it. They looked it too wholesome. But as time goes on, and maybe that was a blessing in disguise. And we wish Kokoto was a really nice kid. Always said hello. Always had a nice smile. We even saw him backstage. Very good. And whatever happened, that's politics. That's what happened behind the scenes. That's something different. But as a person, as what we saw as a performer, he was very nice. So, but this is a business. His departure from Tony D'Angelo staple really has elevated Stacks here, and he's really gotten better in the persona of his character as being Tony D'Angelo's protege, right hand man who goes get it. I really am enjoying his development, Lorenzo, every week, and now in the ring here, and it really improved with Dijak. Dijak. Not feeling too much of his persona myself. I got to see more matches. I'm going to be honest. I'm not saying I don't dislike him. I just got to see a little more from him. I didn't really appreciated the whole T-bar and Retribution angle with him. I didn't really appreciate it to see or studied it. So I wanted to see him in his ring ability now here going forward. I thought the match was hard hitting. He seems like a big guy who's big guy, but a little thin, that with more agility, and I kind of like that mixture. But Lorenzo and the performer with the difference, selling the moves, also bringing up his offensive attacks. I thought it was a good match between two guys who was a hard hitting match, and that's what we want. And as a performer, we were entertained, and it was very good.
Yes, definitely. And Stacks, starting off the match, great here, and having the offense against Dijak, somebody who's said to be a monster of a man who wants to take over NXT and its entirety. But Stacks getting the offense in the beginning of the match, leading to Dijak just destroying him. But this match was pretty good. It was really entertaining, and I enjoyed it. Every second of it I enjoyed. Whether it's Stacks on the offense or Dijak on the offense, it don't matter what. It's storytelling, and I can't wait to see what happens between all four of these competitors. Dijak, Wesley, Tony, and Stacks. Maybe we get a fatal four-way or a triple threat. Something. We need something.
I'm glad you mentioned storylines there, as we see Dijak get the victory, get the pinfall on Stacked here, and after the match, the extracurricular where Dijak was going to really annihilate Stacks here, and in comes Tony D'Angelo. So I like you said, setting up the storyline now, and that Tony comes for the save on his protege partner there, and he gets on the mic, he cuts a promo and says, you got a problem with me. So now we're going to settle New Year's Evil. We're going to get in the ring. Now you became my business. So like you said, Jay, the storyline now, them two guys are going to go at it, where I think it's going to be a no contest or whatever the case. It's just me. And like you said, Wesley will be at ringside in commentary, because he mentioned it later on in the evening on the promo. I remember that's one of the few promos that we got to hear in the Performance Center that wasn't too loud. Like you said, Jay, kudos to you to picking up on that. They told a story, they're telling a story, and they're leading us into a direction there. And I like the way they did it. They presented it, and it's going to be what's next, like you said, for all four participants, because could be the swerve could be there, because this is supposed to be a dirty business with Tony D'Angelo, the family business. Anything can happen. Never put that past it. You never know that, Jay.
Yes, because during the match when Stacks was getting taken out by Dijak, we saw Tony looking very disappointed in Stacks. I mean, Stacks was bringing it all every single week when Tony was on the sidelines injured, and he was so happy for him. But now seeing that he's kind of getting disappointed at Stacks and not pulling through at what he said he's gonna do to Dijak, now maybe we can see him fishing with going with the fishes, like others would say. Maybe we get a heel turn. You never see fatal 4-way for the North American Championship.
You never know with that. You never know with
Never
that, and because remember when Tony D'Angelo, we didn't know how the severity of his knee injury was. Tony D'Angelo was trying to season Stacks, bringing in different competitors. He booked them with some matches. He had another match that I think helped. I personally think would help Lorenzo elevate his wrestling skill. That match with Nakamura. That was a good match.
I was just thinking of that. I was literally just thinking of that. Yes.
And you see, ever since then, he's gotten much better. Sometimes some of these performers just need that. Get in the ring with a seasoned veteran that's been there. Get some tips. Hey, listen, or that little encouragement. Oh man, I actually stood toe to toe with Nakamura. Yes, I gave it all. I'm tired, and I saw him breathing hard. That means I must have done something, and that just motivates them, unlock even more their talents. Or they say, or listen to one of their producers says, "Kid, I told you," or young lady, I told you, you have it in you. You just gotta go get it. You gotta reach for it. And sometimes just being in the ring with a seasoned veteran like that, you could tell that they unlock that next level that they need to get there. I'm not saying it works for everyone, but you could see that going forward.
Yes, definitely. We can definitely see, all this, lead up and going forward with the plans that they have for possibly Vengeance Day or Stand and Deliver, which is the next pay-per-view right after Vengeance Day. But yeah, like you said, him in the ring with a veteran like Nakamura, who's wrestled all over the world, and he's been in the ring. He's been in pro wrestling for a very long time. Getting the help in the back. It's just since then, yes, like you said, he's been improving a lot. And to see Tony kind of disappointed in him for not defeating somebody like Dijak, we could see a heel turn possibly, and Stacks be the babyface, or we could see Stacks turn on Tony. If Tony loses to Dijak at New Year's Evil, we could see Stacks be like, see how hard it is to face Dijak. This is what I've been going through, and take it all out on Tony.
Yeah, so there's so many possibilities with a lot of storylines there, and this is what invigorates here with not just with the WWE as well as everyone in creative, from Shawn Michaels, now William Regal being part of the WWE officially, being part of the backstage promos or vignettes or whatever storyline direction, the talent that they want to go through with characters and ideas, and you never know 2023. That's why it's exciting there for this North American title picture. Now, speaking of title pictures, we had a backstage promo. Again, we didn't see most of it, but I'm trying to recall what we saw on screen. We didn't hear too much of it, but we know that we saw New Day, the WWE Tag Team Champions, backstage with Pretty Deadly. I guess they were making them do a list of chores, but in comes Schism to interrupt. Fowler and Joe Gacy, along with Ava Rain, all got in the face, and they were cutting promos, but New Day has the best line. Oh, Joe Gacy doesn't ask you to talk, then you talk, and of course leads to a match where New Day, Kofi Kingston challenge Joe Gacy one-on-one for later in the evening, and so they're going to let us know in the arena that's coming up, not at the moment, but it's going to be at the sometime before the main event. They will have that match. So I was like, ooh, more Kofi Kingston versus Joe Gacy. When I saw that match announced, I was excited because I liked Joe Gacy. Believe it or not, I'm one of the few that liked Joe Gacy in-ring ability.
Yes, and in the backstage promo, New Day told Pretty Deadly, you will have a chance to become number one contenders at New Year's Evil in a 3 tag team match. So there will be 3 tag teams.
They got to run the gauntlet.
At it.
Yes. Got to run the gauntlet. Yes, correct. Good pickup. Yes, good pickup there, Jay. Let me ask you this: who do you think is going to be the teams?
Pretty Deadly. Pretty Deadly, Schism. Well, Dyad. Sorry. Pretty Deadly, Dyad, and we can probably see Malik and Idris in there as well.
I believe they're going to be, because I think Creed and Indushe are going to have their hands full with one another on that match.
Oh yes.
So correct. So then we leave to one of the parts of the whole night. To me, was one of the best promos, one of the best segment. Coming up, it's Toxic Tuesday. Toxic Attraction comes out, and of course, the ladies always looking sharp, always elegant, come out, cut a promo. They're talking about their empire is going to rise again in 2023, despite we're going to build it brick by brick. They're calling out Roxanne Perez, the NXT Women's Champion. And before we know it, we're getting women from all over the corners of the world. Boy, I'm pretty sure a lot of guys wish that were dreaming they were their boy because they were getting it from everywhere.
Oh yes, and there was Cora, there was Indy Hartwell came out first, and she was on the stage, and then we got Cora, we got Zoe, we got Nikita, and we got also Thea Hale. Sorry, she came down
Wendy
too.
Chu, she was on my side.
Wendy Chu, yep, she was on your side. I had to deal with Zoe Stark, sorry, but I don't know why they keep giving her a mic. Hey, listen, let them do what they need to do. But yes, that's leading to the next thing that's happening here. All women go and attack Toxic Attraction, and then we see on the top, we see Roxanne Perez coming and telling them they don't need to fight now. They'll fight at New Year's Evil, leading to a 20-woman battle royal for the number one contenders match to face Roxanne Perez at Vengeance Day. Hey, Kev, I got a question for you. Who do you think's gonna win this 20-woman battle royal?
This one right now?
Yes.
If I'm betting, I'm looking at all the competitors in here. It's going to be Indy Hartwell. I think Indy Hartwell is going to get another crack at Roxanne Perez for the title and Vengeance. One thing that I did like that we wanted to not just those ladies, they were in the area where all of us were sitting. They made their way to the ring, but not only them, the ladies in the locker room came out fighting. It was a brouhaha. You have to watch the video. You have to watch because our words cannot give it justice. This was like, whoa, it was hardcore. Everyone from every lady competitor, except for the tag team champions, were not medically cleared. I believe, and whoever wasn't medically cleared did not participate. But every available lady that's healthy was out there just going at it, man. You saw Zoe Ruka, Diana Palmer, you saw Amari Miller, you seen them all there. Lash Legend, Fallon Henley, oh my God, it was everyone. And the ladies, I mean, it was chaotic, but controlled chaotic with a lot of hard hitting. It looked at us in the arena, gave us goosebumps because like, whoa, look at this, look at that. I mean, it came from all angles. Where of course, the cutting, kudos on them cutting that promo, and they came from all angles from the promos. Every lady was in a different corner part of the arena, but then they made their way and they just went all out chaotic. It was a beautiful chaos in the arena, and of course, Roxanne Perez cutting that promo at the end was just a cherry on top, and I loved it. It just was something that I'm like, you know what, I can't wait. And of course, and kudos, believe too. I'm trying to give the proper credit. Someone on the line said it's Royal Rumble season. We need a kind of Royal Rumble battle royal type of match just to get.
That's exactly what I said. Once I saw all those women into the ring, I said we need a battle royal. Right. Give it to us on NXT, and they did. They gave us exactly what.
Prior for you to seeing that, we were on our way to NXT before we even got awarded the tickets to all the wristbands to get in. Someone mentioned that, so I wanted to give them kudos. I forgot the name. I believe it's Rock Pebble, that we call him. Graciously. So. He mentioned that in the parking lot area when we were all gathering. So I wanted to give him the proper credit on the Heel the Ring podcast, because we do listen. And it's just not just our opinion. We hear to all the people that go there and they make their fantasy booking, because we have time to kill. And I wanted to give the right credit where credit was due. So to you for putting that. We needed that, and he saw that ahead and he felt it. I'm can't wait for next week. Again, you start off the Battle Royal Rumble season there with that. It was phenomenal, which I loved it because it gave us the next match. It gave us a segue into the next match because they had to clear the ring, and I'm pretty sure they went in commercial and cut a promo, but it went into the extreme fight between Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn, and my goodness, this match, ooh. I loved it because you just came off that Battle Royal brouhaha, and everybody was excited. And then you go into this match with these two ladies. I mean, Jay, give me your thoughts on this match here with these two ladies.
You know, I loved it, and them being part in that little fight there, with all the women there, and I saw from a distance, I saw from a little, you know, arm lengths away, they ran into the back, leading to what you just said, Alba Fyre versus Isla Dawn. I thought it would have been a false count anywhere match. I thought it was able to go into the back and do all that stuff, but as the refs were over there, Isla Dawn and Alba Fyre were just throwing things at each other, hitting each other with stuff, putting each other through stuff, and it was just a hard-hitting match leading into the ring. And that match I enjoyed. I loved it, even though most of it was, you know, in the back. I still enjoyed it. But let's talk about what happened with that table, man. The one thing I didn't like about this match was that the table didn't break the first time when Alba Fyre jumped off the top rope, looked like trying to hit a swanton bomb onto Isla Dawn, and the table didn't break, so she had to pick Isla Dawn up and put her right back through the table face down.
Yeah, this is. I'm gonna say this here. I think this was one of the most physical match that I've seen in NXT, possibly since I've been going to NXT. To be honest with you, and it's gonna be a year now, going continuously over and over, week after week. This was hard hitting. This was a very extreme physical match between these two ladies. From the backstage, Indy dropping her down on that 2x4 on Isla Dawn falling. Alba Fyre taking a lot of hits there and being slammed. It was great. You also saw her, Alba Fyre, bringing Isla Dawn in a wheelbarrow into the stage and finally bringing it to the arena. It looked phenomenal backstage. Like you said, I thought it was going to be falls anywhere because it was an extreme resolution match. So it was just a title for another fancy title name for a match, I guess. But all in all, a non-disqualification match, which I'm all right with that. I like the in-ring ability there. We saw Isla Dawn take out tools, use a wrench to twist her Alba Fyre's fingers, putting her to submission there, and just working on her hand, putting in, and by where I was right in front of you, see on the match where the stairs are, putting her hand in the toolbox and shutting the toolbox with force in on her hands. Trust me, that hurts. As being as an electrician who has a toolbox, I know how that hurts. Those tools, or having that by accident slam on your hand, and not with full force, that hurts. Kudos to that, and sold it. And all that, you know, we were telling her, use the hammer, use this, and the ladies brought it there. It was a women's hardcore match, without calling it a hardcore match, but it was really good. One thing on that spot there for the table, it was a misdirection. She had to put the table across, not the way we see it on the picture. Alba Fyre went for the swanton, totally missed her. Not that it didn't break, she missed her. She didn't even she missed the whole swanton. She had to put if she would have put the table going across the same way the ring is going across, I think she nails it and gets her there. But kudos on her to pick up and recuperate and get that with I guess it was concerto to the table type of move there for her to knock her out and eventually get the victory and put this match behind her. But the match was a solid A+. You could downgrade it to a B on that miss swanton out on the floor not with the table, but you know, I tell everyone, well, you know what, you get your rear end and you do a swanton on the table out on the floor and tell me how easy it is. So I'm going to give them back the A because the ladies bought it. One little mishap. I know we're critical with AEW when they make their mistakes, and I know we do. We burn them, but when you do 3 or 4 mistakes in the same match, then you really gotta deserve the criticism. But Isla Dawn, Alba Fyre, this was a hard-hitting match. My goodness, the women division here in NXT, it just keeps getting greater and greater with hard-hitting matches. These women keep getting better. This is no more bra and panty match. I keep saying it. This is no disrespect to Lita and Trish. They're the pioneers, but this is not your like they call your daddy's women's division. This is a women's division who brings it night in, night out with all types of wrestling moves, hardcore and swanton. And for Alba Fyre, she's ready to go to the main roster. Even Isla Dawn. I think Isla Dawn in the WWE main roster as well, and SmackDown, that persona works. I think these ladies both are worthy to go to the main roster, Jay.
Yes, definitely. I could definitely see them being on the main roster, and I'm actually pretty happy that the woman and in NXT actually got TV time. They all got TV time, no matter if it's a little thing, little punch in that little battle royal thing that leading to the battle royal match, or even Isla Dawn versus Alba Fyre in that Extreme Resolution match. I loved them getting TV time. And I can't, I can agree with you that Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn can make it on the main roster, and they are main roster ready.
Yes, yes, because you could do that persona. You we see, and I'm gonna say, well, this is another ripoff of what's going to happen with Nikki Cross, as well as Alexa Bliss. You saw Liv Morgan tease it, the witch persona from Isla Dawn. But she does it so she gets into that character role. If you watch NXT UK and now into the NXT here in North America, you see her, that role fits. He plays that role. It's like an Undertaker role. I'm not comparing her. No, I'm not comparing her to an Undertaker. Don't misinterpret. But she gets into that character and she plays it well. And she really, really embraces that. And I think that's a recipe for success that could translate in the main roster, as well as Alba Fyre. I like, Kaylee Ray and aka Alba Fyre. She brings it. She has that move there where possibly maybe a tag team. I understand you can't bring them now. You can't make them a tag team after this resolution. Maybe if they go and wrestle and let's say they take some time off when they're about to make the main roster move, maybe you could team them up and have now you have another female tag team to add to SmackDown or Raw, either or, to battle for the women's tag titles. You need more tag teams there. I know they both are hard hitting. Maybe they could work as them, maybe they don't, but either way, whichever direction WWE wants to go, I think both ladies could be on that main roster, and I don't think they'll skip a beat. They won't look overwhelmed.
Yeah, no, I definitely can see them being a tag team. And even tag champs. I mean, they both have it. Isla Dawn with her witchcraft and with the Ouija board and all that stuff, and her being back in NXT UK, and so with Alba Fyre. She is a hard hitting female, and she delivers every time she gets in the ring. And I could definitely see them both being a tag team. I could see maybe there's a storyline here when they're like we've seen in the past. People fight and then they become friends and tag team together. I could definitely see this happening because they both I could both see them tag teaming with each other because they just have it. I could see them. They're both good in the ring together, so I could see them being good together in the ring against another tag team.
Yes, and you think about the entrance, the dark witchcraft and all, and then you have the fire, with Alba Fyre, literally, the ring. She comes up with the smoke. You bring the witch. They could do a lot of. It fits.
It's like a puzzle piece, like one puzzle piece. Place it there. There you go.
There. So we'll see what happens to the ladies if they get the call up, but hopefully they can continue to wreak havoc and continue to entertain us with some hardcore entertaining matches here in NXT. We move on here, which I think, and it's just me, with an up and coming star in NXT, taking on a guy that I'm not so lukewarm, because I would like him to change his getup. It's just me, just a minor criticism. Oro Mensah taking on Javier Bernal, Big Body Javi. Now Oro Mensah, he wears the ski equipment and stuff, but we are in Orlando. Doesn't fit. No. There is no snow. There is no cold. That's why it's a gimmick that is like, it doesn't kind of resonate. But all in all, Oro Mensah is a really good high flyer. In the ring, and Javi Bernal as well. We look. There's a storyline with Javi, and I know everybody's like, well, that's what they kind of want you to get that, but he's gonna be like an infection that's gonna keep growing and growing on you, and he's gonna take over, because I think there's gonna be big stuff here for Bernal. But you could see that Michael Hickabaum, aka the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, has a stunt print all over Javier, because it looks like he is being groomed like the way Shawn Michaels was being groomed when he first turned heel, that we just couldn't. If you could recall, I mean, I did, because I'm at that age when I watched the wrestling back then. He was just that type of annoying, get away, and Sensational Sherry was even worse, so we with her squeaky voice, Look, put it this way: if you don't know who Sensational Sherry is, just think of Vicky Guerrero when she comes out screaming, "Excuse me." Sherry was singing his theme song just like that with that high voice, and that was annoying. So I see a lot of things that Shawn Michaels looked back in his past to bring or kind of interject into Javi Bernal, and I kind of like Javi Bernal. I think I know in the beginning, but then as I thought about it and I start seeing the development as the heel and what is he doing there. Owen Mence is another one. Like I said, might not be my cup of coffee, but I appreciate that he has some good high flying moves. Who he gets in a match there, who is part of the North American title scene, if you ask me, or North American scene. He fits that bill the way he could put on a good match with Wesley, as well with Axiom, as well with any of these North American contenders. And personally, the match was just right. It was just sweet enough to put us in between to get us to the next segment. What's your thoughts on first and foremost, Javier Bernal? What's your thoughts on him?
I love his gimmick, man. I mean, with him being like making that list and having some people that are not wrestlers like Elon Musk, or I think he had Donald Trump on there. But his character is improving each week, and I just love the fact that his heel gimmick, it's going to, if he makes it to the main roster, let's say he makes it to the main roster, I see that gimmick he's bringing us to now working on the main roster. I could definitely see him possibly getting a United States Championship opportunity, or even an Intercontinental Championship opportunity, no matter which brand he goes to. But yes, I love Javier's gimmick, and the gimmick in Florida doesn't really work. It doesn't really work. But yeah, I love Holly.
Yeah, and I like one thing. I love the finisher from Oro Mensa with he had that spinning heel kick there. My goodness, that was really, really crisp. I like that move from him. Of course, he got the victory. That running spinning heel kick from him. It was just all in all, it was a short and sweet match there. We get it. Javi there's a method to that madness right now, him losing these type of matches or trying to be delusional. That's the kind of character that Big Body Javi is, delusional when he's going to start to get over being a bit delusional. When he gets that victory, when he gets that big victory against that signature moment, it's gonna click, and WWE hasn't decided when, but he's gonna go on a major winning streak where I don't think he's ready yet for the main roster. I think still thinking he's about another this time next season, possibly teasing for a Royal Rumble. If it all depends on Javi, though. It all depends on Javi. If he gets over so damn over, like a heel, like a Grayson Waller in 2022 to now, he starts rocking, because I think he has the agility and the ability to get in the ring to wrestle. We need to see it, because we saw him a lot of level up, and we saw a lot of high flying stuff. And I thought he was going to show us some high flying stuff with Oro Mensa, but it's showing me that the agents don't want him to do that storyline yet. They know he has that ability, and he's a good in-ring wrestler who could high fly and go. But I think the story character-wise is right now he's gonna lose a little bit with that delusional angle and getting us like not comedic, but that annoying HBK role when he first started. That annoying Shawn Michaels, and then he's gonna delusional that he's the sexy boy. He thinks he's cute, he thinks he's hot. He has the mirror. Then until Sensational Sherry appeared and went gaga and hot for him, he started taking off and got the signature victory. I see similarity in that, folks.
Yes, now that you say it, I can definitely see it. I can definitely see the similarities here with the big body pillow and the big body Christmas mixtape thing like that. He thinks it's all about him, and that's what heel characters should be, all about them. They should make it all about them to show that, they have it. They have it. They have it. They have it. They have it.
Yep. So we'll wait for that signature moment. It could be if, in the future, Diamond Mine, which is their ring tease, LB now stays away. You got Tatum Paxley doing or doesn't know Dome Ivy, doesn't really fit Diamond Mine, whatever. She might be the vignette with the show. She'll fix the Sensational Sherry mode into Javier Bernard, and now you're getting something that where he starts taking off with a Tatum Paxley as a vignette, and vice versa, or they just bring another lady who's in development to play that sensational Terry type of role, maybe an older wrestler, not old, but older type wrestler that could see and like the way Sensational Sherry felt for the boy toy, kind of little kicks different though, but in a different modern aspect. We could see that. Don't you heard it here? I think that's where they're gonna go, in my opinion. So we'll see there for Javier Bernard and Oro Mensa. So we go to the next match here. It's Drew Gulak with Hank Walker taking on Andre Chase and Chase U. Now, you know my thoughts about Chase U. Not a big fan of the whole thing because of the flambe thing, but this was a good match, believe it or not, with Gulak and Andre Chase. This was and we compared it to, and I was saying, no, this is a Ring of Honor pure type of match, and this was a pure match. It was a good match. Jay.
Yes, it definitely was a good match, and I think it was in replace of the Hank Walker versus Charlie Dempsey that now it's leading to next week. But yes, those two competitors, Andre Chase and Drew Gulak, put on a hell of a performance, and I don't want to. Can I say it? Who won?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, with Drew Gulak with his submission hold, and then picks up the win via submission, tapping out Andre Chase. I really couldn't see the submission hold because the referee was in the way. But Kev, did you see what submission hold he was putting in?
Absolutely. It was a dragon sleeper. He put him in a dragon sleeper. Gulak gets the victory. I love the fact that these both men with the fundamentals in the ring. And by the way, that match was scheduled for New Year's Eve 2 weeks ago. Did Charlie Dempsey and Hank Walker when he did the Invitational.
Yeah, I can't hear with everybody over there in the NXT, but yes, definitely now I can hear it.
Yes, it was originally scheduled for next week. It was Hank Walker taking on Charlie Dempsey because he was his protege. He says, he told him, I'm gonna give you 2 weeks to prepare this jobber, pretty much. He didn't say it like that, but prepare this meatball because I'm gonna give him a wrestling clinic. And he says, yeah, you got it. Gulak is trying to open up Gulak University. So so everybody, kudos to the fans who were cheering the Gulak University chants. So we were trying to combat the Chase U chants. But all in all, Drew Gulak gets the Dragon Sleeper on Andre Chase in a good match, man. I advise you guys, again, I'm not a big fan of Chase U, but when you got to give credit where credit's due with the wrestling, Andre Chase, I was impressed with his in-ring ability to go at it in a pure wrestling match with Gulak there. Although Gulak did smack him, took away from the pure rules or whatever, or pure wrestling match. You could see that Gulak is losing his gimmick. He's losing a little bit of his cool at times, similar to Andre Chase. If you look at it, Andre Chase gets upset. He starts profanity to tell people to get out of his class or so forth. But I like the fact where they're going, and it looks like there's a story being told here when it comes to Gulak going forward with Charlie Dempsey and so forth, and also with Andre Chase and Duke Hudson and Thea. There's another storyline here in 2023, but that's going to be slow developing. But of course, Chase U gets over. There's a reason why Chase U gets over in the NXT world. I get it. I like it, but I just like being the heel to Andre Chase and to the Chase U. That's just me. That's all. It's not that I kind of got a newfound respect for Andre Chase on that match. I was happy for the result that he lost on the sleeper, but all in all, I get why he's his character and him being the dean of administrator for Chase U works, and I get it going forward there. So Drew Gulak, we'll see what happens here with him. If he's going to lose his cool, he's like right now in a tweener. We don't know if he's going to be full heel, or we don't know what to expect when it comes to Gulak here. If he's going to be a heel, a face, or what it is, we just wait and see.
Yeah, Kev. After the match, I kind of had a little look, and I saw that Hank Walker was looking at Drew Gulak like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you like this? And maybe we'll see Hank leave Drew Gulak's university and all of the people that are in there leave Drew Gulak by himself to make him realize that he fucked up. Oh, my bad. That he screwed up, and that maybe he shouldn't be all this and trying to copy Andre Chase at Chase University.
Yeah, you never know on that one. Absolutely. We'll move on here. Building up for New Year's Evil. We're finally going to get the tag team match that everybody's expecting for New Year's Evil. It's been building. It is none other than the Creed brothers taking on Indeshay next week on New Year's Evil. Your thoughts there? I hope this is a hard-hitting match. I hope it's not a, these guys all four in the ring. I hope they bring it. It looks like it's going to be hard-hitting.
Oh, yes. And then having them, like I've said in the first time that I was here on the podcast, that they were building this match up for weeks. Playing the storyline that, we had JD McDonough interfere in the storyline and proving to Creed brothers that they're not ready. But in reality, they are. They are ready for in this year. And I can't wait for this match. This match, I'm going to tell you right now, is going to be another banger of a match that is on the card for New Year's Evil next week.
Indeed, we'll keep an eye on that. We'll be there live. Hopefully, we'll get to see the insights on that on New Year's Evil. Now, it finally leads to pre-main event. You can say the main event or the last final in-ring physical event match with Kofi Kingston from the New Day with Xavier Woods taking on Joe Gacy with Schism. Now, again, we saw how this match escalated in the backstage promo. And led for a match tonight. Kofi Kingston, again, the NXT crowd loves the New Day, except for one person, two people actually, Booker T, and one person, salute to our friend Brandy, who is a big Pretty Deadly fan and dislikes New Day. And she got on camera and she got there and she got the attention of Kofi and Xavier Woods. And they even put her part of the promo vignette. Oh, we got someone other than Booker T that don't like us. And kudos to Brandy for being a good heel against Pretty Deadly, and she was perfect. I loved it. Back and forth, no profanity. Everything was a classic heel back and forth or interjection with the competitors in the ring, and I loved it. I was like, I know you said you were there. You were sitting right there.
I sit right next to her every week. Yes.
And how did that sound from her perspective?
She loves her yes boy. She loves Pretty Deadly, and at Deadline, you should have heard what she said. She said, "I got something for them," and then she walked off to the back. I was scared. I was like, "Uh-oh, what is she gonna do?" But now this week, she brought her a sign that says "New Day sucks," and while everybody was chanting "New Day rocks," she was the only person besides Booker T that probably said "sucks." That New Day sucks. And me sitting next to her, I had to make sure Kofi was like, no, that's not me. I think you're good. I think you're cool. I like you. No, that's just her. It's just her. She was over there. She told me after the show she wanted to jump the barricade and tackle the New Day. And I was like, oh, I don't think you can do that.
No, you can't do that.
No,
you gotta stay with it. You gotta stay with the constrictions. But all in all, the match though. Let's talk about the match here. We talked about the promos, the back and forth. Of course, you have Jagger Reed and Rick Fowler on the outside, along with Ava out there ringside. Kofi Kingston was Xavier Woods was on the mic talking with on the commentary. We asked him to please bring Francesca, please, Kofi and Xavier, especially bring Francesca. We want the horn there. We want to sing along New Day Rocks with the horn. We want to see that. We want the full New Day experience. Since we're not going to get Biggie because he's still recovering and working hard and working. We would love to see the Francesca in and about with you. So please, we will ask you to bring her here to NXT. Now, Kofi Kingston is out there testing the young talents. I love the fact when he went off the top ropes and he got all Schism out on the ringside. Joe Gacy, again, another wrestler. He did a lot of good works in the indies. We know his gimmick. We know he worked well. He was a former tag team of Eddie Kingston in the indies, and he still goes. Now, there's a lot of storyline there. When it's just a matter of time, if and when, which mostly when, Joe Gacy and that character, or just him, Joe Gacy, period, gets called up to the main roster. But right now, they need veterans to work in the ring with the young talent, like a Duke Hudson, as well as a Joe Gacy. They're Apollo. That's what the New Day's there. They're there to help, like when we mentioned earlier, with Stacks, to help them get their talents and get that confidence with the main roster. Oh, I belong. So there, I think Joe Gacy is there as well. They're gonna give him that push. They're gonna bring him up. but and he's been ready. To be honest with you, I know people said cringeworthy on his mic skills, or they don't like the whole schism nonsense. People are falling crazy for schism. They like it. Jay, what's your thoughts on Joe Gacy?
Oh, I love Joe Gacy. Don't get me wrong. I love Joe Gacy. And Schism's on a roll. Like I've said before, Schism they have it. And, all of us at NXT, no matter if we like them or not, we always put the twos up, the fingers up to go with them. And I think that Joe Gacy is ready for the main roster. And we had, he had a feel. He went up to main event and he had a match. We had a feel of the main roster. And I think that WWE is bringing down these main roster talent like Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, New Day, and Apollo Crews. They're bringing them down to feel for the people that they're going against, to have a feel of the main roster, so that maybe that's probably what they're going to do. They're going to go up to the main roster and then they're going to show what they have and what they did in NXT.
Indeed, there absolutely, to see where they go. I believe if Ava, aka Simone Johnson, was ready, Ava Rain was ready to or recover from a knee injury, and she was ahead or right on schedule with her wrestling ability, they would have not no problem bringing her up with the whole group, because I think that whole group will work as a counter up there in the main roster. But then Ava's not ready. She's nowhere near being ready. She hasn't had her first match. She's been injured both times during training with surgery, and if she was in the ring, I think they would have booked them up personally, because they could have her work and learn on the fly, and I think she will pick it up. Of course, we all know why, but where who's her bloodline and all that. With that, what it comes with it, they would have bought it, because that's a merch. She's a merch seller. Believe it or not, she hasn't done anything yet, but just her being there and cutting promo with Joe Gacy and the Schism, their promo merch. They move merch in the NXT arena, where a lot of guys, usually it's tough to sell. You don't see a lot of people buying merch as much. The day that Schism came out with their merch went quick. They moved merch. They moved the needle when it comes to there. So maybe another run in NXT for Joe Gacy for another year, or maybe they'll leave when Ava's ready. They kind of kick out Joe Gacy, and she takes over Ella the way Rhea Ripley moves the needle, but they'll remove they did with Edge, and then Joe Gacy could go and do something in the main roster, and you still have the heat with Schism. They just keep adding, we're 4 roots, and we'll just keep, our branches will continue to grow, and they'll bring another person into there, kind of fit that role. I could see that going in the future when it comes to Schism.
Yeah, definitely. I could definitely see them kicking Joe Gacy out of Schism, leading Schism to stay in NXT and do what they need to do, and have Joe Gacy go up. I don't want to say he could be part of Judgment Day, but he has. I kind of blanked on the name. Sorry about that, but I could definitely see he has kind of that creepy kind of gimmick that I see that Judgment Day has, and I could see them kicking Dominic out. Maybe they can kick Dominic out, or kick Finn Balor out and bring in Joe Gacy to fit in the role of maybe a new leader, or a new member of Judgment Day.
I never thought about that. That's a really good one. Really good observation there. Really good one there. We'll see what happens there. We'll get to the final segment of the night in NXT. It is the Grayson Waller Effect, one of the hot wrestlers in NXT right now as a heel, who has gotten over with the wrestling crowd, and he is just the number one. Personally, I keep saying it. I say it week in, week out. To me, he is the number one heel in all of professional wrestling now, with the promo, on the mic, on the mannerisms. He doesn't not take no backseat to no MJF, to no Miz. Right now, I think he is the bar setter. I think he is the one that sets the table. I believe that is Grayson Waller with that microphone skills. He had, although the segment with the world champion, NXT world champion Bron Breakker, the segment was a little bit like a toast, like a dry toast kind of. I know Bron came out with his dad's jacket. Of course, me being a big Scott Steiner fan, I'm a big fan of them, the Steiner brothers, when they wrestled in WWE and NWA, WCW, followed their career, and it's enjoyment to see their son on every night. I know folks in the NXT universe don't pretty much like Bron Breakker, but me being a fan of his uncle and father, and seeing him grow up and develop into that, and seeing those old costumes that he wears, to me, I like it. I get it. I like it. I like the way they're grooming him. I love the fact that Waller called him a Goldberg wannabe. That promo, Grayson Waller just brings it, Jay.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said before, he's not like a Miz or an MJF. He's himself. He's Grayson Waller. He brings to the table something that I can see him being NXT champion in the near future. And Bron Breakker, yeah, people don't like Bron Breakker. They're down in NXT. It's not that we don't like him, because I'm kind of part of that group. It's just that we don't. He was NXT champion for way too long. I feel like he should let somebody else be NXT champion and have him go do something other than be the champion. And like you said before, with that jacket, him coming out, and I noticed it, and I said to Evan, give me next Evan, hey, look, it's his dad's jacket. And he acknowledged it. He said yes, but he said that I think it says Braun on the back of it, instead of what it normally had on the back of it. But yeah, Braun, I love Braun. Don't get me wrong, I love him. He's an amazing competitor in the ring, but it's time to give somebody else a chance as NXT champion.
All right, I can see, I hear your thoughts, NXT universe. I see it. And also, he doesn't have a title run. It's boring. Whatever the case is, that they haven't put a opponent worthy enough to take that.
He had two competitors. He had Halloween Havoc.
He did, but he destroyed them. He did what he's supposed to, destroy them. Not his fault that when he beats his opponent, he makes it so believable. He destroys. That's what you want. You don't want. I think everybody would be upset if he goes around doing a schoolboy or a roll up for a pin and getting defending his title on a roll up. You guys will go bananas and get so upset. He goes out there and he destroys him with his power driver or his spear, or in the case when he beat Tommaso Ciampa with the submission hold. So he's done it in all different aspects. It's not his fault that his opponents has not brought up that level. I thought JD McDonough was going to give him a big. Maybe they should have left a one-on-one. Maybe JD McDonough is too much of a talent for a Bron Breakker. That's why they had to put him in a triple threat to protect either Dragunov or Bron Breakker. Who knows? I don't think he's ready to go to the main roster. Like, everybody's dying for him to leave to the main roster, to the WWE. And I'm the big fan of. You could say one of the only few that is a huge fan of Bron Breakker. Not because for selfish reasons, to see him each and every week on Tuesday. I don't think he's ready yet, because if he goes to the main roster, I believe he'll get lost in the shuffle, because I don't think he's ready for world title. I don't see him beating a Roman Reigns for a world title.
Oh yeah, no one sees him beating Roman Reigns. I don't know why people on the internet are putting out there that Bron Breakker will be the one to defeat Roman. That's not the case. I don't see him beating Roman Reigns in any way, shape, or form.
No, and even Gunther right now, Gunther, even Austin Theory, Braun has to work his way up. When he comes to the main roster, he has to be ready to win one of those titles, a la the way Gunther did when he first came up. He became a larger than life. He had a vignette. Personally, I would like for Bron Breakker. Personally, if they want to brush him and they want to bring him to the main roster, or they seem they could sell money, merchandise, and stuff with him. I called and I said it time and time again, and I mentioned it in the parking lot with the other wrestlers, fantasy booking and stuff. And I said on this podcast many times, you're gonna bring him up. I would team him up with Madcap Moss, and I will make them the new Steiner brothers, because they both have the physique, they have the look. You could even want to put Emma, now that she's back in the fold as their vignette, their manager. Let them be the new Steiner brothers. Let them run as a tag team when they're ready to go separate. When Roman Reigns starts retiring or getting down, and all the main cards, no AJ Styles, none of those guys there are either retired or a year or two away. Then you elevate, or you make Bron Breakker go singles. Even Madcap, Now they could go get the mid-card titles where you could build up a Bron Breakker winning a Royal Rumble. Then now he gets in the title picture. If you want to bring him up to the main roster, if you want to take him out of NXT and thinking that he's run his course here and there's money to be made with merchandise and Bron Breakker's look, you could do that. That's just my opinion. I would love that.
Yes, definitely. And now that you brought up the Madcap Moss and, Bron Breakker can be, now that I look at it, yes, I see where you're going with it, and I agree fully with you. And now looking back at it, Bron Breakker is not ready for the main roster. I take back what I said before. No, he's not ready for the main roster. But we'll just see what happens at New Year's Eve.
Right, because we're back to Bron with the main roster. He doesn't have the microphone skills too much. You can see the way the Grayson Waller, he wants to deliver the right line, but he's thinking, what should I say? So how's it going to sound right? And he's thinking too much in his head with not want to botch or say something wrong in his promos there. And being honest with you, Jay, neither Rick or Scott, both, and I tell you, I'm a huge fan of them, were not that great cutting promos neither. We all know the famous 33 and the third chance with Scott Steiner. Scott and Rick wasn't really a big solo wrestler to per se with cutting promos. He had his solo run for a while, but they were more of a tag team dominant. I'm not saying Bron Breakker's fate is to stay as a tag team dominant, but if you want to bring him to the main roster, that's why I'm a big advocate of making him be a tag team first before he separates. And also I also like myself, if that's not the case, then we all know that they have that off-air romance between him and Cora Jade. Let Cora Jade be his manager. Then Cora Jade is a good talker of the mic, heel who gets heat. And of course, I would hate him to be a heel. But if it's going to be in the main roster where he's going to generate heat and look like a bad guy, a bad dude, like a bad, larger than life persona, I will take that.
Yes, definitely. Even if it has to be a heel gimmick, yes, anything it takes for Bron Breakker to succeed in the WWE is what they're gonna go for. And Bron Breakker with the promos, Grayson Waller, I felt like he carried that promo last night on the Grayson Waller Effect.
But I got to give credit before we close out the NXT portion here. He redeemed himself with the power move and the physicality. Getting that slam on Grayson Waller and then taking his cell phone and as Waller weasels his way out of the ring, he did that moonsault flip with the phone in his hands. That was awesome.
Notice how, I'm going to say this once, notice how every single time Grayson Waller has his Grayson Waller Effect, last time he did it, for the deadline, they're trying to recreate the Logan Paul thing when Logan Paul jumped with his phone. They're trying to recreate it. Hey, I can see them trying. I'm seeing them trying.
But he did it though. Bron Breakker, big guy like that, he did it. He didn't top dollar it. He really took it to another level.
Enough with the top dollar jokes. No, but NXT last night, I'm going to have to say it was an 8 out of 10 in my part. I mean, it was a great way to kick off 2023, the first NXT of the year, with the females getting their own little segment there, all of them, to Bron Breakker and Grayson Waller on the Grayson Waller Effect, to Carmelo Hayes and Apollo starting off NXT with a banging of a match. And then we also had Trick Williams improving in the ring and showing his in-ring talent that he's been gaining over the past few weeks that we've been gone from NXT.
Indeed. Personally, I think last night was a really good event. I'm going to give it a full 9. It was just really that good. It was a huge part for the not just a small segment. I thought it was a huge part for the women, from Toxic Attraction addressing with Mandy Rose situation without saying Mandy.
I love how they're doing that.
Yes, that was phenomenal there. Also, the hardcore match between Isla Dawn and Alba Fyre. That was a hell of a hardcore hitting match. So the ladies shined perfect last night there, and not just the 9:30 spot like they do in other places. No disrespect to that, but that's what it is. They had it. They even leveled up they had some great women matches there, bringing the whole women locker room out there and just going havoc, and just and it was a controlled chaos that looked phenomenal on TV. Also, from starting the match there with Trick Williams, actually with Carmelo and Apollo, leading into the Trick Williams match, they kept that storyline flowing where Axiom comes out of nowhere from the Raptors, from the crowd, and just starts their match. That was good. From the Drew Gulak, pure match. If you wanted something, there was hardcore last night. There was fast-paced action. There was brawl. There was brawling. There was battle royal with hoo-ha-ha. You also had pure match. If you wanted pure wrestling match, you saw that with Andre Chase and Gulak. You even saw a big promo vignette cut right in front of us with Grayson Waller and Bron Breakker. So it was a little bit of everything last night. You give that show a 9 because it's not a premium live event, but it felt like to start off the year on a premium live event. And I'm gonna say I really enjoyed that night. It went so quick. NXT, and I want to give the kudos was to the crowd. Everyone in the NXT arena. That was not Tennessee, guys. That was not Nashville, Tennessee, and Pittsburgh, who were bored fest. This guy, everybody here was entertained. They gave they're all cheering and going all out as a crowd. We were all invigorated. We got up on our hands, on our feet. We yelled, we screamed. Some of us lost our voices. It was not Nashville. This wasn't that Nashville crowd. This was, and of course, again, in the state of Florida, Tampa, you kicked rear end in that SmackDown the other night with Cena. The crowd was phenomenal, electric. Again, Orlando, heads up, you did a hell of a job as a crowd screaming and yelling. Again, Florida has the it factor. WWE, I know you have to share your love around the whole country. I understand that. We totally get it. They have the right to see the WWE product as well. But remember, who's your crowd that goes bananas there? It's either UK, Orlando, New York, certain places. Just remember, keep in mind there, because certain cities, you got to bring it, bro. You got to bring it. Your city, and I understand if you don't like the product that I get, you shouldn't cheer. But when we see matches and we seeing these guys going at it and giving you product and you sit on your hands, that's kind of tough.
At least stand up and give them a round of applause for actually coming out here and giving you something to watch, instead of, they could have not came to Tennessee and completely just went to another place. But, you guys sitting down, yawning, and, just being bored, possibly going on your phone, going on Twitter instead of watching the match. That's just not right. You guys at least got to give the performers a round of applause for coming out here every single night and putting on performance for not just you, for everybody around the world.
Indeed. So we want to see that. Before we close out the NXT, we want to talk about one more promo that I don't want to leave out there. It was from Malik Blade and Inofe came out and addressed us. They got big things, big aspiration coming up for 2023 for that tag team Bracelet gold around the waist. I've said it, and I said it here. I said about 2 weeks ago, when I saw New Day first win the WWE NXT tag team titles. I say they're going to be the next tag team champions that's going to defeat the New Day. Is going to be Inofe and Idrix. Idrix Inofe and Malik Blade. I think they're going to be, because I think you could see a torch passing here with Odyssey Jones and Malik and Inofe as the New Day. They could still have individual success, but still be as a group tag team the way the New Day successfully are together as a group, but also individual success. I think they get the chemistry with all three of those gentlemen. That's a 10. That's a 10 out of 10 or a 5-star. When it comes to them together, it looks great. It looks good. A group that you could go behind and get behind, and I think they're gonna have big stuff. Of course, I'm gonna be a little biased. I'm really friends and I like these guys a lot, and I'm going forward. They're, to me, sky's the limit for this group.
100%. And them coming out and cutting that promo, was it non-televised? I'm pretty sure it was a non-televised promo.
Like I said, we didn't watch the performance because we watched Wrestle Kingdom, and then we took a little bit of snooze for some of us that didn't, and we couldn't. We wanted to give this podcast due to time and schedule. We didn't watch their video, so we'll watch it and we'll see if it was on TV. But if there wasn't, they cut us a promo saying about big things there, and he teased us. If he wins, he'll take the shirt and watch, and we'll see that tattoo.
Those people, they really want to see that tattoo. They really do. And another thing, like I've said earlier, I think they'll be in part of that tag team match at New Year's Evil. I could see them winning that and going off to the New Day. And like you said, yes, they're probably the New Day with Odyssey Jones being part with them. That's he could be a new Big E. We can see Idris and Malik be the new Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods.
Yeah, they don't have to copy their gimmick. They could just continue that powers of positivity. We know the sweater vest's power, the reason behind the sweater vest, and I love the story with that. And Odyssey recovery from that knee injury, overcoming, and Onofre, of course, getting better and better and looking like a monster star. I missed the cape, but we understand why he doesn't do the cape anymore. The dropping of the cape, but we he's a tag team. And I loved it. I loved their interest. I loved their positive. They come out there. They come out so happy and positive, and they get us going with the and the energy. That's why I kind of similarly see in a parallel of a new day of a passing of a torch with them, but. For that, we'll see there. We'll see how that goes. Good luck if they are in New Year's Evil. We'll be rooting for you. Inofe and Malik, definitely a full blast there. So this is the NXT review. We hope you guys enjoyed it. We're going to talk a little bit Wrestle Kingdom here. Wrestle Kingdom happened while we were sleeping when we got back from NXT. It started at 1:30 in the morning, the pre, and it went all the way to 7:30 in the morning. Jay, this was the WrestleMania of New Japan Wrestling. And it delivered. My goodness, from all the different matches, my God, I enjoyed it so much. First Wrestle Kingdom that I watched, be on the way.
Same with me, and I enjoyed every match that I've watched. And it was my first Wrestle Kingdom. I've never watched Japan before ever, and now that I watched it. Now maybe I might take a look back and go in memory stroll and go back to previous Wrestle Kingdoms and previous shows and then continue watching it. And yeah, I love Wrestle Kingdom. It was amazing. It was amazing. All the matches, they delivered. All the competitors, thank you for putting on a wonderful performance and bringing it all to the table for all of us, not just us in them in Japan, all of us here in the United States, North America, everywhere around the world that people were watching Wrestle Kingdom. Thank you for putting on an amazing performance.
It was phenomenal. We're not gonna review every bit of it because of the names and we kept you on for longer. I'm just gonna give a couple matches, the results, and we'll throw out a couple matches that caught our eye that we enjoyed. We know that I'm gonna give you some names that we heard of: Great Okan, Shingo Takachi, and Sho, and they went and Turo Yano won against Rambo. So that one I was asleep. I'll be honest with you. I didn't watch that one. Just give a couple names because we heard of the Great Okan. We got Zack Sabre Jr. defeat Rena Narada for the DWP television champion. Also, we have a new never open weight champion in Tamatanga beat Carl Anderson from the OCs. We saw that there, and that match was a really good match there. Oh my God, that was a really good match. I was very proud of Carl Anderson, even though despite dropping that title, the never open weight champion. I hope that really allows him to do that style of wrestling that he did in New Japan this morning, because I love what I saw from Carl Anderson. I'm like, dude, you need to bring a little bit more of that, interject to your wrestling ability here in the WWE, because you got the powerhouse in Anderson. And Carl, you need to be that in-ring performer. Any other matches before I give anyone that you want to talk about before I continue giving a little more of the results?
Yes, the FTR match. Let me pull up my notes here. FTR versus Bishamon for the IWGP World Tag Team Championship match. That caught my eye, and it delivered. It delivered. I loved that, Dax Harwood and Dash Wheeler, are over here coming over from the United States to Japan and putting on a performance with the New Japan competitors. And they dropped the titles, unfortunately. And I could definitely see them maybe possibly taking a break from wrestling.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because a lot of the news and notes that I mentioned earlier in the show, I didn't want to spoil anything, was FTR's contract is up in February from All Elite Wrestling. There's talks of them wanting to take a massive few months off to recuperate. Of course, they've been we see them. The storyline is they've been losing a lot of matches. They dropped the AAA tag team titles. First, it was the Ring of Honor tag team titles, the AAA. Now they dropped the New Japan IWGP tag team champions. Now they have no titles now. Now they're not going to look like the NXT guys that go around with a bunch of titles on waiting online. But now they're going to look. They're going to look without titles. Gold. I believe they're going to take some time off here. I believe that they're going to weigh their options. They're going to recuperate because there's a lot of traveling. You have obligations in Japan. You have obligations in Mexico, and then you have to in Mexico. They just don't wrestle in Mexico. You saw FTR wrestling in England. You see them moving around the globe with their obligations, and that's a toll, especially I believe Dax has a young 6-year-old daughter who fought different illnesses and in recovery. That's also mentally draining. Want to spend time with your daughter and with the family and going through their situation, and that also takes a toll. I can see where the few months off, not years, couple months, I can see them returning possibly in August if they get written off in February and take off the beginning of spring or early summer, where he could be part of the summer with his daughter, go out Disney, the family thing, all that other stuff in their personal life. I could see them returning, getting back into business somewhere in late August or September, either All Out or SummerSlam, if they choose to go to wrestle either back to AEW with a contract or test the waters with Triple H again in WWE, or even if they go back to New Japan, if they really enjoy, those doors will always be open for FTR, whatever wrestling organization they choose, because they bring it. They are good performers, and there's value in those gentlemen going forward. So we'll see for them, and like you said, no longer IWGP Tag Team Champions, maybe a weight of this, and also losing that ROH tag titles, not winning the AEW tag titles. Maybe it's a little weight off the shoulders that they're really looking forward. So I can see where I respect that. It's not they're losing their touch. There's probably something more behind the scenes that they asked for it there going forward. Jay, another thing that everybody wants to talk about here is we saw Kiri, with former WWE and NXT Kiri, defeat Tama Nakata for the IWGP Women's Championship, but that wasn't the main thing. After the match, we get an interruption. They debut of Sasha Banks, aka Mercedes Moné, makes her New Japan Wrestling debut. No longer, for now, not part of the World Wrestling Federation, right? Wrestling Entertainment. Look at me going back to the WWF. The World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE, and now signed with New Japan Wrestling, and also Stardom. She mentioned it on her promo. So I do not know how long that commitment is. It looks like it's going to be for quite a few shows for both promotions. What was your thoughts when she came out?
Yes, I was excited for when she came out, and then the promo kind of got me a little bit drifted off into what I thought maybe was a botched move. But all in all, that her coming to New Japan and actually testing new waters, going out and going to Japan and going to Stardom and New Japan Pro Wrestling, I think it's a good idea. And I just want to note, last night, Mercedes Varnado tweeted out to everybody at WWE, WWE Universe, Vince McMahon, Triple H, and everybody backstage that helped her in her time being at WWE. And she said thank you, which I just want to say thank you to Sasha Banks for the years of entertainment you brought to WWE. And I can't wait to see what Mercedes Moné has in store. I can't wait to see her face Kyrie in February in San Jose.
Now that's going to take in the States here in San Jose, USA then.
Yes, okay. It is.
So they have a New Japan event here in the United States in San Jose, California, where there's going to be a lot of speculation now. The speculation will she sign with All Elite Wrestling, if she's going to be there, if she's going to be part of All Elite, part of Soraya's tag team. Soraya keeps tweeting that who's going to be my mystery partner. She's pushing it, a little thirsty in my opinion, but that's just her prerogative. But let me say this when it comes to the entrance, I'm gonna pull up the pictures here. I really like her entrance here, the robe. I thought she looked stunning. I think she looked stunning. I love the Japanese robe coming out there with the headgear coming out. Guys said, what the hell is wrong with that hair? No, guys, this is the metaphor. She's burning off the blue of Sasha Banks, and now she's reinventing herself here in New Japan as Mercedes Moné. So that's why you see the hair with the discoloration. That's the way I took it, and it makes to me it makes sense. I hope it gives that light to you there. Now the promo on the mic, you could tell there was nerves. She was nervous. You could tell she was nervous.
It was her first time in the Tokyo Dome, and in front of a crowd that she's never performed in front of. So yes, of course she was nervous, and she had the butterflies in her stomach. Returning to after all this drama that happened with her, and walking off of WWE and dropping the titles on Johnny A's desk. She definitely had the nerves, and eventually she'll brush them off, and she'll go back to what we saw in WWE.
Yes, and guaranteed her next match, when she does her finisher, is going to be much more crisper. We understand. We saw it. If you haven't checked it out, checked on Twitter. She put a video of how the finisher is supposed to look. It looks similar to that. The thing was that the champion, Saraya, did not sell the finisher for her. Now that's going to be an issue there. She's gonna have to live with it though. When you're going into New Japan and you're going to another part that is not the United States, and you're going to another location where you're just a small fish right now in a bigger pond, or you're just a fish in a different pond, they're not going to be receptive for you going into New Japan here, the ladies, because they're just starting off building. Carrie, she came here and Sasha was the big fish in the WWE pond. Now it's the vice versa roles. Don't be surprised if she doesn't get that warm reception in New Japan, and you see all that. I'm not saying she's not going to succeed. She's a star. You could see, we stood up to watch New Japan wrestling because we want to see her entrance, what she was going to say. Not just that, we got entertained with great wrestling. So she's a draw for New Japan. Personally, I still think she's going to do her work. She's going to be out there in New Japan and start them both, get those organizations going. I do not see an AEW run for her. Everyone thinks Saraya. I might be wrong, but come the 11th, she's the one that cleans up. I don't see it. I don't see her going there, especially the way she wants that freedom there. And if you sign with All Elite, you don't got your freedom. The con man holds you for 3 years hostage and only to allow you to go wrestle in those other locations. But with Bayley, Naomi, all the WWE ladies in attendance, flying to New Japan and promoting, and she's just reinventing. She's just testing to see if she can make it outside of WWE. I don't see her going to AEW, All Elite Wrestling. I do not see it, Jay. I could be wrong, and I just don't want to say, oh, you're tribal. No, I just don't. There's nothing for her there.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. A lot of people are just overhyping, and they said it when she was there in Boston for Dynamite that one time. People were like, oh, she's going to be on Dynamite, and then they were disappointed because she wasn't there for Dynamite. I do not see her being in AEW. I could be wrong. Like you said, you could be wrong as well. We all could be wrong, and she shows up and be Saraya's tag team partner. But in my theory, I think Thunder Rosa will be, I know you do too, I think Thunder Rosa will be Saraya's tag team partner, bringing her back to the AEW after that injury that she had, forcing her to relinquish that AEW women's title to Toni Storm, who then lost it to Jamie Hayter over there at All Out. But yes, I definitely don't see her ever going to AEW. We all could be wrong. I could see her returning to WWE in maybe 2 years if she, makes history in New Japan, Stardom, in Japan in general, in the Europe area, all of those over there. She just travels the world, puts on a performance, make history, and then comes back to WWE when she's ready.
I can see that. I can see that there for her. Good luck for her. We'll be rooting for her in our corner, whatever she turns up for Miss Sasha Banks, aka Monet. So we'll go on here to one of a really good match here. For the IWGP United States Champion, Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay. A lot of people are saying match of the year already, hasn't started. The match was really good. It was hard hitting. My goodness, there was blood. But of course, I could see why a lot of the people criticize Will Ospreay with the no sell at Kenny Omega. But there were some great parts in the match. I mean, Kenny Omega going through the table and taking his head right through the table, then sticking his head. My God, there was so many great moments in this match. The near fall finishes, all the broken arrow. Do you see a lot of Kenny Omega slams from the top ropes? This delivered, but I think it was a little too much oversaturated with finishers. Finishers should be protected. And I don't want to sound like old relic, but it was a good. But I'm not taking away from the match. But there was a little too much of the finishers, too many of the oh my God moves, and the kick out at 2. Not even 2-9 or 2, and it's like, could we sell a little more of the job? Could we sell a little more of the moves, or protect a little more of the finishers? But all in all, this match was a banger, though. This was a really good match. Kenny Omega wins, by the way, the United States IWGP United States champion. Another wrestler that I mentioned on News and Notes that tipping his hand or what's going to happen in the future. Now we all know that the AEW has a forbidden door back and forth open with All Elite Wrestling, that they're allowed to work back and forth, but that takes a toll. Going to Japan, wrestling in Japan, coming back, doing all the tours. Kenny Omega is a free agent in February, and he is not looking. He might take a time off away from All Elite Wrestling, no longer VP status, whatever the case happened with the backstage scrum. Look for next Wednesday. It'll be a tipping point when they have that 6-man tag with Death Triangle and the Elite. If Death Triangle retains their title, I can see Kenny Omega sticking with not being part of AEW for quite some time. I'm not saying he's going to WWE. No, it's not. I think he's going to have a run back in New Japan Wrestling. I think he's going to stay in New Japan for a little bit, and when it's needed, if needed, return back to AEW if the ratings and the movement of the show improves, because there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to AEW with their ratings dropping under 1 million. No TV deal. Don't know if they're going to be on a streaming platform. Don't know what's going on with the owner, with the backstage stuff. If they're going to bring CM Punk return. A lot of politics, a lot of backstage stuff. And Kenny Omega's put out feelers saying he wants to see what the Young Bucks are going to do. If they're going to re-up, he might re-up with them. But it looks, for me personally, look for the tipping hand, which the Bucks are free agents, by the way, in March. So look for them to see what happens next week. Is going to be a big telling sell, because he has to defend that IWGP United States Openweight United States Championship. But we saw FTR as the champions, and that took a toll on them. And he's recovering from abdominal surgery, Jake.
Yes, and speaking of AEW, guys, tonight on TBS, we get to see what Tony Khan has been hyping and putting out there, trailers, teasers, and all that stuff for the new stage. Tonight's going to be a good episode, as long as same with next week. Next week's going to be a good show as well. And like you said, I definitely see Kenny Omega going to New Japan, as he just won the United States champion, and his contract is up next month. There's no way he's going to hold that title for a 1 month, lose it, and then go to WWE. That makes no sense to me. I don't see him coming to WWE. I'm sorry for all the fans out there in the IWC that are saying, yes, we want Kenny Omega in WWE. No, that's not the case. I don't ever see Kenny Omega in WWE. And yeah, I can see him definitely going back to AEW after some time in New Japan, getting back to where he was originally. Then come back to AEW when he's just ready, and possibly go back on the roll when he came to AEW the first time.
Yeah, I see that too. I don't. He doesn't fit what WWE wrestler. No. He doesn't fit. He'll look like a fish out of water in WWE coming in there. Even though his style is phenomenal, he could go. But I don't think he's the type of guy that fits what WWE is. But never say never. You never say never. Stranger things has happened. I mean, heck. Stranger things have happened before. I mean, but I don't see it. Don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath there. I wanted to also magnify the main event for the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, the challenger, Okada, taking on Jay White. My goodness, this one was a good match there. I know Okada's a big deal in New Japan Wrestling, and of course we saw him come over in the Forbidden Door. Wasn't showcased that well, believe it or not, in AEW. Personally, I don't think his entrance or coming in didn't give it justice when he showed up on that Dynamite in AEW. Just like, okay, who's this guy? You know, we heard some, and it wasn't. But watching that match, a lot of respect, of course. Of course, the Wrestle Kingdom was dedicated to Antonio Inoki, who passed away, the founder of New Japan Wrestling. They were honoring him, and what a way to honor the match. The whole event was phenomenal. I really like this with Jay Wright drops the title. We have a new champion, and he wins the title from Jay White. Jay Wright, my goodness, he could bring it. I watch more of his match. This is his third time I watch him wrestle. Jay White brings it. He don't let his stature or his move. He remind me of a different alternate universe of a Seth Rollins. I'm not saying they wrestle exactly the same. No. But that the way he conduct himself, the persona, it felt like that. And my God, Okada gets that victory with a lot of finishing move. A match that went about close to 40 minutes. It had a 1 hour time limit, but the 40 minutes, it delivered, Jay. It was a good match. I advise you guys to go watch that match. This was what you call a hell of a match there. Oh, my God. You got to watch that. Jay White just with the chops. Both of them going back with the chops. My God, there was a time when he chops them and he just folded Okada. He just went back and just folded and they were loud, those chops. Jay, you got to watch that. That was just, I wish I had words to bring it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was sleeping and I missed most of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Wrestle Kingdom. But I am definitely right after this. I'm going right back to where I was watching New Japan. I was watching Wrestle Kingdom, and I cannot wait to watch the main event. Now that you say it, that match is probably going to be another banger of a match of 2023. You could definitely put that probably, as you're saying it, you could probably put that match up as one of the top matches of this year, already kicking off here in January, and I can't wait for what's in store later this month and later this year for New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, New Japan right now. If you're new to it, this is the time to get into it. Not only you have now Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné. Now you have a new champions. Back and forth. You saw some of the familiar faces. Kenny Omega's back as United States champion. Sorry if this is a spoiler if you haven't watched it, but this event already has passed. So with the way Twitter spoils everything, I'm surprised if you haven't heard it. If we spoiled it, we apologize, but we gave about 8 hours for it, so the results are out there. So, but the point is, this was a New Japan Wrestling. You know what? It's gonna get more eyeballs because the product always been good. It's not like, oh, they just put a real good show. No, it's been this good, but now it got magnified and they took it to another level there. There were so many good matches back and forth, and you got to get used to their rules. They have a 20 count outside the ring, and New Japan, if you miss it on the Axiom, usually comes after Impact Wrestling. If you're on the DirecTV feed, if you have DirecTV, usually at 9 o'clock, at 10 you get New Japan, and you see that. I know I saw the G1 tournament there as well. So of course that led into Wrestle KINGDOM17. But all in all, Wrestle KINGDOM17 with the fans back in the arena, it looked phenomenal. It was well worth getting up at 3. For me, it was at 3 in the morning to watch it. It was phenomenal for me to get up and enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the getting up, the whole event of it, and it felt wow, wrestling was really, really up there. And to me, I'm going to give the best match, the best person, the best whole thing of Wrestle Kingdom was Red Shoes, the referee. To me, he refereed all those damn matches. To me, he won the MVP right there, if there was one for the Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, definitely. And Wrestle Kingdom, they delivered everything that we wanted when it comes to new champions. The Never Openweight champion, Carl Anderson, did drop the title. Jay White, he dropped the title to Okada, and Will Ospreay dropped the title to Kenny Omega. There are so many new champions on the card last night. And yes, I woke up at 3 in the morning too to watch Wrestle Kingdom and fell back to sleep. But all in all, that was a good match, and first Wrestle Kingdom too, and I loved it. First New Japan Pro Wrestling actual event that I've ever watched, and I liked it.
First one I watched live. I watched, recorded and watched thanks to our producer Pete, who always gets us involved in whenever we watch the matches on the parking lot when we got time to kill. He always puts up, and he's been a big pro wrestling to watch New Japan, and all these matches, even Pro Wrestling Noah. What a start for the wrestling world, for the wrestling universe since the beginning of the year. You had Nakamura taking on the Great Muta. That was a hell of a match. Now you had Monday Night Raw, despite the fight, before that, even that SmackDown into Noah, into Raw, into NXT. Then we had what just happened in Wrestling Kingdom, possibly tonight, AEW Dynamite. If you want wrestling, you got it.
Yeah, 2023. Now I'm seeing it. All these promotions bring it. They're all for the beginning. 2023 is going to be a wonderful year for pro wrestling. Like I've said multiple times. I've said it last week too. That pro wrestling it's going to deliver this year. 2023 it's the year for pro wrestling.
Yes, that's why you just sit back and enjoy it and watch it. It's wrestling, man. Let's enjoy just wrestling, no matter what. If you want to call it sports entertaining, it is, because it's entertaining you. Wrestling, sports entertaining. Just watch it. Hey, if it's not your brand of wrestling, you know what? Just turn the channel off and just go watch it. Watch the one that you like and leave it alone. Hey, it's been what 3 weeks that I haven't watched Dynamite or Rampage. It wasn't my cup of coffee at that time. I'm now want to watch the new year, what they're going to bring up. I want to see the Survivor Series backdrop that they're going to bring tonight, and I'm going to go forward with it. I'm going to enjoy that.
Yes, the stage tonight should be awesome, and but when the doors open for AEW tonight, I'm gonna stay off of Twitter. I'm going to stay off of Twitter. I want to watch it as soon as they go live at 8 o'clock. I want to see what it looks like, because I know they're gonna play a little teaser trailer. They're gonna play the full trailer, and then they're gonna show the whole stage with pyro and everything. 2023, it's time. It's time. We've come, and now it's time to show off what we have. And if you watch and you don't like something, like you said you don't like something, don't say anything. Don't criticize it. Keep your mouth quiet and just move to another channel.
You could criticize it, but don't stir up where you want the masses. Don't
start drama.
Yes, you get upset that everyone doesn't agree with your thoughts, JD, and you just let it go. You just let it go.
Let it go.
But in all, it's going to be a good year, and that's nothing. We haven't even got to the Rumble yet. The Rumble. Then comes Road to WrestleMania, the build-up, Elimination Chamber. Oh my goodness! It's so many good possibilities going forward. It's exciting. It's exciting and it's fun. And hopefully, you guys enjoy the ride, or join us for the ride, and come along with us, and maybe we'll continue breaking it down. And of course, I had a good time at NXT Live. Tuesday. I can't wait for New Year's Evil. That's another event coming up. New Year's Evil. Yeah. It's going to be on a Thursday. It's going to be on a Tuesday night, a regular Tuesday night. But it's going to have that premium live event feel, Jay.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I loved NXT. First time going to NXT, I had mixed feelings of it. I went the following week, and I fell in love with it. And if you guys are here in Orlando or here in Florida and you can travel to NXT, please come. You will have to sign a form, and then you can get 2 confirmation emails, and then you can come. And I'm telling you this right now, you will have an amazing time. It is not like those small live events that you do from the main roster that they have, the house shows. It feels like an actual main roster show if you are there. The crowd, they're on fire the whole night, no matter who's in the ring. It could be someone that you've never seen before, or somebody that you see on a weekly basis. NXT, the crowd is always on their feet and always happy for whoever's in that ring, and that's what NXT is for. It's for the fans.
I mean, you said that perfectly. And how do you get there? You go to the NXT Facebook page, the NXT Live, or you go in Instagram, NXT Live. There's a form there. You click on it. If you're in the Orlando area or be able to make it to Orlando area, you go in, you sign the form, you put your name, you put your email address, you sign it, you fill out a few questionnaire there, then you send it. You wait find out. You usually get a 24-hour confirmation. They'll ask you if you're willing to, are you really going to attend this program? And then they put you on the list, like the Jericho list, and you show up the day of at the parking lot, Full Sail. You get bus service shuttle, and you're taken over to the NXT Performance Center, where you'll be part of the program, part of the live taping, and be part of the event. It is an event, guys. It is a fun event, and of course, those that and no disrespect, we appreciate you guys that watch, that do wrestling podcasts like Wrestling Inc. And I'm sorry to call you out, but Glenn Rubenstein, the first one, who just talks negative about the NXT universe and the crowd. I would love him personally to come, and JD will come personally to join us. We're not going to be mean. We're not going to be mean, disrespectful. No. I would love you to be a guest personally. I'll even buy you lunch. I know you go, well, lunch, even, there's a lot of vegan places, Glenn Rubenstein. I would definitely invite you and bring you to the NXT universe to watch, and Alpha Kilowatt as well. Is that, you like charcuterie boards in Miami. Yeah, I do listen to your show once in a while. And this is the reason why I'm doing the Halo Ring podcast, because you misinterpret or misrepresent the people here in Orlando. You call us drunk, you call us half drunk or hungover.
They don't even sell anything there. It's water. There's just water.
That's why I'm putting out this video here. Hopefully it gets viral, and I'm inviting you to be our guest. And nothing negative. And listen, I'll buy you a beer. We'll have a cigar. We'll do something cordial, civilized, for you to come see and show you how the NXT universe gets down. You have your negative, but we're going to take your negative and we're going to give you a positive. We're going to show you a good, positive time here in the NXT world. And we ask you to come, be our guest, come here, take a vacation or some time here. Come and come to the NXT universe. Come see it. Or you could even ask Dave LaGreca. He was here for, and you guys, Denise. Ask those folks that they gave them an opportunity to host an opening for the premium live events. We are loud, we are invigorated, we love wrestling, and this is fun. Come check it out. You might not like it because of the commercials when they play it on the live tapings. We get it. Too many Pizza Hut commercials. We get it, but they got to pay for the sponsors. Come on down, be part of the audience, and you'll see, instead of criticizing and being so negative where you're from afar. It's easy to be negative from afar, but when you're up close in person, you see the performers and you see what the blood, sweat, and tears that we don't see on camera, then you have that little bit of appreciation. So we invite you to come on down. So with that said, Jay, I think we said enough for this past Tuesday's NXT and Wrestle Kingdom. I really enjoyed it. It's always a pleasure to get on here and talk wrestling with you. Enjoy anything about it. Hey, we're just fans. This is from a fan to a fan. We're just fans of wrestling talking about it to fans of wrestling. We're not pretending to be professional. We're not going to say, oh, look at the holds, look at the, no, we're not. We're just a fan from a fan, and we enjoyed it, and we appreciate you guys giving us your time to allowing us how we as fans enjoy this product that's called Wrestling and NXT.
Yes, I just want to say thank you, Kevin, for having me again on this podcast. It's wonderful, and yes, we're just fans to fans. We're not here to put down other people. We're not here to crap on another promotion. We're here to bring you the results and an honest review of what we saw on TV or in person.
Indeed. And we have a motto here on the Heel in the Ring podcast. If you ain't down with us, we got 2 words for you. Just subscribe.
Subscribe.
So we'll see you next time.
Awesome! You people bought a ticket to see me, so shut up!
Sometimes I get so mad, there's no control.
Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you live under a rock,
I might grab a bat, I don't know, my rap, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show.
So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making
a villain! And I have no problem at all, because I couldn't care less if you like me or not. I'm here for success, and there's no one more successful than Grayson Waller.
Yeah! Let me talk to you!